Hey y'all, while we were transitioning parts, James went ahead and decided to join us today. James, for you wondering where we are, we were basically in the middle of going over the Apple order not to provide warranty services to people who bought iPhone 4s who were calling in about the issue.
Right.
It's just going over the fact that basically they're not to provide warranty service and they're supposed to sell them the iPhone 4 bumper. In the last part, we went over, the Apple's announcement and the legal suit a little bit. Basically, I was saying I cannot believe Apple admitted that the iPhone has had a design flaw, at least in how it interprets signal. Even though it doesn't jive with what's going on with the antenna issue, that's the sole cause of the iPhone 4 death grip. I just find it hysterical that Apple released a public statement that basically said, we are using the wrong formula for figuring signal strength, and that's the formula we've been using since day one of the iPhone. It's like, I swear Apple Legal never looked at this document because I don't think they wanted to accept that liability. Anyways, you've kind of caught up to where we are now. But I find it funny that if this lawsuit goes anywhere, the obvious settlement is going to be everybody gets free bumpers, and yet Apple's official memo is nobody gets free bumpers. You have any rehash you want to put on the stuff we were talking about before we get into what the actual cost? Because the number one thing coming out of all the Apple fanboys is, well, if you don't like it and you're having all these problems, just return the phone. And I went ahead and looked up what it actually costs to return an iPhone. and I think that explains why people aren't just opting for that immediately. But you have anything to say on what we were covering before?
No. I think we better just move on, so I'll be in the.
Okay.
Stuff.
Okay. It's so moving on to the number one question of all the fanboys. Like, if you people don't like it, why don't you return it? All the fanboys have been saying all last week that you can return it for 30 days for any reason. I went and did some research. It turns out the return policy on iPhones is actually 14 days. It only became 30 days as of Friday the 2nd with Apple's, oh crap, we're getting sued, so we better handle this differently letter. Apple also charges a 10% restock fee if you've opened the box. It's basically to not get charged the 10% restock fee, it has to still be sealed in the box with all the stuff on it. If you've opened the box, even if you haven't taken the film off, it's not in the cellophane sealed box, therefore you're charged the 10% fee.
Well, the psychics are covered.
Yes. Is my iPhone going to work? Okay, good. I can open this one.
Buy a magic 8-ball with your iPhone so you can figure out if you need to return it.
There is an app for that, and Android has it. That's what you should do. You should take an Android phone and put it on Magic 8-Ball and push the button, and it'll tell you whether or not it's safe to open your Apple box. The other thing is there's an activation fee for the iPhone. It's not much. It's $36. But in most states, fees aren't refundable. The states that say they're refundable, the company only has to give it back to you if you return the product within 3 days. Which means if you didn't return your iPhone by 6/27 within 3 days of the thing, and the terms are very limiting, you have to take it back to the exact same place you got it from. If you got it from an AT&T store, it's got to go back. If you got it from online, you have to ship it back. It's like it has to go exactly back to where it's on. Again, that has been lapsed now. You're allowed to take it to any Apple store if you wanted to exchange. But the cost to return it in 3 days, if you were in an area that refunded the fee, because at the 3-day mark, the 10% fee still applied, was between 20 and 30 bucks. Not a lot, but you know, it's the principle thing. Are they going to fix this? Am I going to take it back? If you weren't out the fee, you were out over 50 bucks just to take it back after 3 days for this design flaw. After the 3 days, going up to the 14-day limit, which actually ends this Thursday for people, you're out before this announcement Apple made Friday. You were out a minimum of $55.90 plus tax. Roughly a fourth the cost of the phone. So you're out 25 cents on the dollar and then some for having made the mistake of buying an iPhone. I think we're beginning to understand why people aren't taking these back. Graciously, Apple has decided as of Friday, iPhones can be returned. Apple will issue a full refund and waive the 10% restock fee. But you're still SOL on the activation fee. So everybody's still out 36 bucks. They're never going to get that money back out of AT&T unless they take them to court. I know it's not a lot of money, but for a $200 phone, 36 bucks just burned, especially in today's economy. It's like you can buy the bumper for that. Your option is give Apple money for the bumper or lose the money. Either way, you're out the 30 bucks. I don't know if y'all have any thoughts on that. I just find that interesting, to say the least.
Well, Apple's kind of they're I'm trying to think of the right words here because I don't want to say something as vulgar as screwing themselves over, but they are doing something wrong.
Just so you know, you're really pixelated. Anyways, what were you saying, James?
Well, I mean, when I got my laptop, if I was going to return my laptop, it would cost me 60 bucks. So that's really kind of all technology has. You have to pay to return it.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, you don't have to pay money to turn your laptop on. And if you're returning your laptop because there's something wrong with it, the restock fees are waived. Apple's initial reaction on the iPhone for almost the first 2 weeks was there's nothing wrong. So you were still getting charged restock fees. They're like, you're holding it wrong. It's your error, not ours. So the reaction on day one should have been what it is now. Should have been. The other thing on this to think about is Apple says they know what it is. They say it's a software thing. We've talked about how we're not really how that doesn't necessarily add up. But assuming you believe that, with the 30-day limit, that means they're saying the next few weeks. The limit to return it is the 24th of this month, and to only be out the 30 bucks. If the patch hasn't come out before then, you're keeping your phone on blind faith that Apple's going to fix it. And if after that they don't, but they said they were going to, then this whole issue starts all over again. I know I'm nitpicking here. It's one of those.
I don't know. Not really nitpicking. That totally sucks.
Anyway, go ahead.
Apple also has a fairly good reputation among its fan base, especially in the whole customer service department waiving fees that are supposed to be there, etc. Just the fact that they had such an antagonistic approach with the iPhone kind of ruins that image.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. There's a lot of fanboys who would disagree with you, but it's like I think this shows more. This has shown the real dark side of them in that stuff. And we're up on time, so we'll start on the next topic and the next part here. But yeah,